Hey, it's Carol. I'm back again to show you the last card that we're making with the Memories, Flowers for All Season, Memories and More card pack. And this time we're going to use the Bumblebee color. And we've got a couple techniques. This video might be a little bit longer. I'll try to go as quick as I can. I like to make my videos short so that you can get on with your creating. So I try to save some steps that I assume you know. If you don't, you can always ask me, and I can even do a special video on any techniques or things that you need to know. So just reach out to me. My website is a great place to reach me, carolscreativecorner.com. So let me flip my camera over and we'll show you the card we're going to make today, the final card of the 5th card on the Memories and More pack. So here we go. All right, so here is the card. This is using our prize Peony bundle, and just in this particular card we are using the 3D Peony, and I want to show you how easy it is. And I didn't even open up the stamp set yet, even though it's so gorgeous. It's beautiful because I couldn't wait to make this 3D flower. So let me show you what we're using. So for today, we are using the dies for the 3D flower. And if you just look at this side, it's 4 pieces for the flower and 1 piece for the center. And we are using these 2 leaves. The remaining images here, these are layers for the leaves if you want to make them 2 colors or make them dimensional, and the rest of them cut out these images that you see in the stamp set. And of course I love the sayings and the writing because it's cursive mixed with just bold fonts. So I love that. Very soft. And then there's this little accent piece in there that is so pretty too, to soften and add dimension and depth to your card, as well as this beautiful scallop. So this is my first card with this set, and just to get using it, but I can see that I'll be using a lot of it. I have so much more time I'd like to spend on this set as well. So let me show you how we made this card. Now, the first step we'll do, and I won't get into the peony until second, but I'm going to get how we made this background. And you probably have seen it. Maybe you have. If you haven't, then this will be great for you to learn this easy technique. It's called the scrappy strip technique. I think it was originated by Kylie Bertucci's husband. She's a demonstrator out of Australia. And what's nice about this technique is there's no right or wrong. So I'm not giving any rules, but I will tell you how I made this particular background for this card. And I'll leave it up here so you can see where we're headed. All right, so I took a piece of paper, and it's slightly larger than what I need. And there's a reason for that, and we'll get to that. But then I took pieces from our Flowers for Every Season card pack, and mine is almost gone because I've used a lot of it. And this technique is wonderful if you have leftover scraps, which you can see I have plenty of leftover scraps, that you can use them to create a background for your card. I think that's just ingenious. So for this particular card, I did coordinate the background, and so I used a few designs out of this pack. So I did use the polka dot is one side. I used the yellow and green side. Let's see what other ones I used. I used any that have the Just Jade and the Bumblebee color in them. So let me see what else I have. Oh, I know where they are. They're in my cutter. That's where they are. Okay, so I used this sunflower one, which I love, and I use, like, I think this looks like eucalyptus, I'm not sure, and this rose one. So this all, and you know, the flip sides are beautiful because they have a whole nother color scheme to it, but these all coordinated so well. So I'm going to show you how I cut these strips. There's no, it's just very random and very quick to do. So if you have a strip, I'll take a piece of this paper, and this is 4 inches wide. So I saved a strip, of this paper that's 2 inches wide. I cut that off the bottom because I can use a 2-inch strip on any card. So I cut the bottom off because I know I needed at least 4 inches or so to be longer than the piece of paper that I want to put it on. So you maybe want it maybe an inch or so more. And so then what I do is I just angle it in my cutter. So here I'm at 1, 2, 3/4, and here I'm at a 1/2 inch. And you can make these as wide as you want. So there we go. We've got one scrappy strip. It's got a straight edge on one side, and it's diagonal on the next. Well, that makes the cutting the next one pretty easy as well. So I just keep doing that, making strips however I want, different dimensions, different thicknesses. That's how you create your strips. I used 3 different colors that had green and yellow, and then I used 3 that had just green only. You don't have to use that many different ones. You could use just 3. It really doesn't matter. So that's how those strips were created. And now what we're going to do is take some of those strips and start arranging them on our piece of paper where we want to create the background. So what's nice when you start to arrange this is you can move these up or down depending on what thickness you want. So that's great. What we'll do is we'll start on this one edge and we'll align it with a straight edge. And you'll see you see that some of it is overlapping, and that's fine because we are going to be trimming all of that off. So I'll just put this on randomly. And then I'll take a green strip. And what I've been doing is I've been taking the thick edge and putting it opposite the piece I put it next to. And then I do leave a little bit of white space because in this card, I like the additional white. If you wanted to completely close it up, you could do that too. But I enjoy the white on this card, especially with these little white dots. I just think it brings it all together. And I can arrange this, like I said, however I want. I could put the light, the thin edge on, but let's just do that. Let's put the thin edge on, and then we've got our next strip. The next one that I would like to use one that's got the green in it, and I want to put the thick edge near the thin, so we'll go ahead and do that. I should be using my little silicone mat. Oh, I want to put the long edge here, and we'll just line it up so that there's a little bit of space. There. And so why don't I get that little silicone, my little friend, the silicone mat, so that I don't get all over my paper this adhesive. All right, so now we're ready for a solid, sort of solid green. And one time I didn't want to use these beautiful patterns, so I went and used the In Color pack, the 6x6 pack, to get some of my solid greens that I wanted. So that is another way too. You can mix those 2 packs to get all the colors you want if you want to save, some of your designs. Maybe I should put this whole thing on the silicone mat. That's probably a great idea. Okay, so now I'm ready for my next strip. So hopefully you get the idea. And like I say, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just what you prefer, how many patterns you prefer, and what you have available to you. Let's see, and here's another green. I would prefer, why don't I do this little polka dot one? Just because I want a little bit darker green in there. See, now we're going to go crooked, aren't we? But it's really easy to adjust as you're making this. Okay, so there we go. We can even make it thicker like this. As a matter of fact, I think that's good that we have this little edge because we're going to trim part of this off anyway. So now we've got our background piece. Isn't that lovely? So then I like to take a long blade scissors because now we're just going to cut off this excess so that we can see where the edge is so that we can trim it down. We need to trim it to 3x4 to fit in that square of our Memories and More card base. We've got all this sticky stuff we're going to take out of the way. I'll probably be wearing some of this to bed, I bet, tonight. You ever do that? You ever wake up and I find these little backings to our dimensionals, all over the house? So, okay, so there's our background, and that was really easy to create, and it's so pretty. I love those colors together. So the fact is, though, we want this to be 3x4, so it will show a little bit of show the dots and then show a little bit of color. So we want it 3 by 4. So we're going to cut one edge, and to me it just doesn't matter what edge it is. So I'll just do 3 by 4 here with our trimmer. Oh, did I tell you I love this trimmer? That I had a Fiskars trimmer, and our trimmer is so reasonably priced. And I love it because it has all the markings. I can fit a 12 by 12 sheet of paper in here, and the blades don't stop me from cutting it all the way through. It's lightweight. The blades seem to last longer. You get 4 blades, I think, for $10. So I'm really, really happy with this trimmer. Okay, so I kind of want to cut off that white edge, so I'm going to do it the 4-inch side right here. And that's fine because that was right along the straight edge. So now we have our beautiful background for our card. So let's go ahead and we can start to assemble that, put that on our card. This card is going to be horizontal in length. So we can take that, and doesn't that look just gorgeous just the way it is? I don't know. I love this scrappy strip technique because I love patterns and I love colors and I love mixing them up. So, all right. So we'll put this right in we'll center that, and we've got our background piece on. The next piece is using our beautiful labels, and you saw this in a previous a video that I did. I think we used it on the Jars of Love card, but then you can see how versatile it is. This is going to be a happy birthday card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these 2 pieces together, and then I'm going to mount that on top of the card. Here we go, and then we'll just kind of center it. I love this label. Isn't it just gorgeous when you can do the contrasting color? So, okay, now we're going to go ahead and put dimensionals on this one. And there's a reason I want that popped up, and that's because that peony is going to overlay it, and it'll give it a little more of a 3D effect if it lays over something that's a little bit raised. So that's kind of a reason, too, that I like this popped up. Okay, throw those backings out, though, so they don't, they don't stick onto my clothes or something. Okay, then we're going to center this. There we go. Happy birthday. I did use this happy birthday came from my most favorites saying set, and that's Peaceful Moments, and I stamped that in Just Jade. So that's that part of the card. Now the next piece is putting our peony together. So I wanted to show you how I cut this peony out. So this is a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and it's cut on the 8.5 side down at 4 1/4. And when you do that, you're able to get 2 peonies, flowers, out of that cut. And guess what? You can do it you can do 1 flower at a time and cut it all out at once. So it may look complicated, this flower, but it's so easy because it's 1 die cut when you lay all the flower pieces out. And it's 5 pieces, and you can notice that they're all a little, it goes from largest to smallest, and that's actually how we're going to put it together. And then there's the center. So there's 5 pieces, and we did use 2 other dies, and that was for the leaves. So this seems to be the best way to cut them out and preserve paper as well. So wanted to show you that. So here we have our peony, and I'm going to lay out the 5 pieces. Okay, in order so that we can put them together in order. Here we go, like this. And, but before I put the card together, I didn't want just a white peony. I wanted to add a little color. So in order to do that, I'm going to use this blending technique that I showed you, I think, in my second video in this series. But I'll show it to you again because it's a lovely technique. What I mentioned in there is this one was done with sponge daubers, and I'm probably not very patient, but you can see there's some darks and some lights, and maybe you like that effect, and that's great. I just think there's a softer look that goes on with using these blender brushes. Now this brush is just, you can find them like a foundation brush. You can find them at Walmart. You can find them at Five Below Zero. They have a pack of foundation brushes. It's like a makeup brush. And I love them because they're just have a really nice, they catch the ink, and they have a nice depth to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just apply color around these seams and around these edges. Like you might think a normal flower might have darkness around, and this is crushed curry that I'm using. That's because I didn't get the bumblebee ink yet, so I'm going to use crushed curry. That's as close as I can get. So here we are, just applying, dipping it in our ink, and then just applying a little bit of color to the peony around this open edge here, and then the tip. And I want some white on this flower, so I'm going to leave it, I'm going to leave some of the base free of color. So here we go. We've got some here, and then we're going to put some here. And I just like the softness of using a blender brush. I kind of use little circles, and I go around. And now for the big flower, I'm going to do that around the tips again, and then around the open seam, where you might expect some darkness in the flower. Okay, so, and then you can go over it again if you want more color. If we want to add a little more to the tip, we can do that. The tips, this is another technique. You could take your sponge dauber and just apply more ink to that very edge, like you sometimes see on in a flower. Maybe I'll do that to this one too, because I like that look. All right, so now we've got our peony colored. So now the next thing we need to do is just assemble it. So to do that, you take the I think it's the smallest piece first, and you insert it into the next biggest piece. First one is a little tight. Sometimes this one is a little tight, so I curve it, and then it fits in. Let me see if you can see that. See, I kind of curve it a little bit, and then push it in. Now, where it's supposed to line up, I'm going to flip it over. And you can see, I hope you can see, there's these matching curves. See, there's two curves. That's where this one is supposed to fit. Supposed to fit and line up with these curves. So like that. So once you have them lined up, then I take a little bit of adhesive and I just stick them together. So I'll put it on the bottom side one. So there we go. So there's our first piece put together. Now we'll take our next largest piece. We'll insert this inside it, and see, that one goes in a lot easier. I don't know how that works. And then line up these curves right here. Let me see if you can see that. See, and I'm going to push it away. See, and then you can see, line it up with that curve, which is very nice because we have an alignment point, and it makes it very easy where you can't go wrong, right? And then just glue that down. Then we take our last piece, we insert this whole piece inside here, and we line up that curve again, and we adhere this last piece down. I'm going to move it just a little bit so it is lined up. I'm going to push it through a little bit, get those curves aligned, and then I'm going to apply some adhesive. I don't have to glue the whole thing. That's what's nice. It'll hold itself together. So let's see. And even if I don't get it perfectly lined up, no, I'm sorry, I was off the screen. Even if I don't get it perfectly lined up, it's not a problem. It's just such a beautiful flower. So there we go. Now I just want to show the difference between my sponge daubing and my blending. So I just like the fact that the blending has a little bit softer look. So that's the only difference. And so now we're ready to put our flower. Isn't she gorgeous? Love that flower. Onto the card. And as I mentioned, this label is raised a little bit. So in order to make that kind of curved, the peony kind of curved, I'm going to apply stronger tape on the two side edges so that it will stay on the card and it will kind of be rounded. So I'm going to put a little piece of tear and tape. Well, that's a little bit too big. Let me cut that. Okay, so I'll put a little bit of tear and tape right here. And then take the adhesive off. And I'm looking for my take a pick tool. Oh, I'll just use my pokey tool. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and we'll take this adhesive backing off so we can lay our flower nicely on the card. All right, this is a little tricky, so just using my little pick though to pick up this adhesive so we can glue it on. And you don't even need any more adhesive than this little bit of tear and tape that you're going to put on the edges. So let's get it lined up. I like it. Don't cover the words, and then just stick it down on both ends. There we go. Isn't she gorgeous? I just love this flower. So now we're ready to put our leaves, wherever we'd like. Well, I guess we can't because we put some tear and tape there. So maybe, I guess for this one, you should put your leaves down first if you'd like. Then you can position them wherever you want. Now that I put tear and tape down, I'm a little more limited, but I do want to cover up this little corner anyway. So we've got one leaf going there. And then here's another leaf, and we'll put that on the other end. And see, I know I got that tear and tape, so you're probably wondering, how is she going to do that? There you go. So now I've got my 2 leaves put on, and then I just apply a ribbon. Now this ribbon we carried over, and I do like it. I happen to like it, though, better when it's, I have 2 pieces of it tied in a bow. For this card. I just like how soft and delicate it is. So we're just going to take that and apply it to the card. Right here at the base. And we may trim a few pieces here so they don't look scraggly. Let me see here. And then that's it. Then we're done with our card. And are you ready to wow your friends and family with your beautiful card? I just love this card. I love the Peony, and there's so much more you can do. Of course, it comes with beautiful designer series paper that's in petal pink and grays, and it's just gorgeous. This is just another version of a Peony using different colors, and I like doing flowers in all different colors, no matter if it's natural color or not. Okay, that's I'm going to switch over to me and say goodbye, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully you've got a few tips and you've learned. Remember, go to my website, Carol's Creative Corner, and I have all the directions for this card and all the materials, so you can recreate it if there's anything that I forgot to mention. And I have my class schedule out there, class to go. So if you're interested, sign up. I'd love to hear from you. Any way you decide to contact me, I would love to hear from you. Love sharing and love having you be a part of what I'm doing. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.